01 Gradle. Okay. What is there? 22222. Yeah. More on Gradle introduction, guys. Yeah, I'm talking about repositories in Gradle, boss. What is there? Repositories in Gradle. Already, I have given a lot of knowledge on repositories. Maximum, it won't get its own repositories. It always depend upon what? Other build tool repository. Because they don't want to suffer you, my terminology, my process kind of thing. So already are habituated to Maven, fine. I'm also extension of Maven. Come and feel comfortable with me. That's why. Not only that, wherever best is there, all the repositories it has used. Google repositories it has used. Maven repositories is ready to use. IVA repository ready to use. Some third-party repository, JCenter repository, Bintray repository, and it can even take a local folder as a repository also. Many options are there or not there. What is mean by repository? A small storage place is called repository. Repository class means that's a DAO class having persistence logic. A repository means storage place. It could be a file, it could be a database software, or it could be a in-memory one. In-memory one. It could be anything. Is a storage place is called as what? A repository. Sometimes dependencies, array, when I use dependencies in build tool, is not talking about target dependent class or Spring environment. Some terminologies change their meaning context to context, right? Here, context of dependencies is what, guys? Jar files. Yeah, the context of dependencies is what, guys? Jar file. Sometimes dependencies come in the form of what? Module. We have to specify the location of module so that build can consume them. The location of storing modules is called as what? Repos. When I say module, it can be a jar file, it can be a project, it can be a plugin, it can be X, Y, Z. It's a place where something is stored. But 95% in our mind, modules means jar files only. Modules means what? Jar file only. By specifying the repositories for a project, Gradle can find and retrieve models. Repositories can be in different form, such as a local directory or what? Remote repository. Local directory or what? Remote repository. Are you getting my point there or not? At runtime, Gradle will discover declared dependencies required for what? Operating specific tasks. Once a dependency is resolved, the resolution mechanism stores the essential files of dependency in the local cache memory, also stated as what? Dependency cache. Future builds reuse the files saved in what? Cache to skip unnecessary network calls. Are you getting my point? Okay, whatever, it's like local repository, boss. Local here, cache is nothing but what? Local repo. Maven local repository is common for all Maven projects of a computer. Gradle projects can use Maven local repository, but Gradle does not have machine specific what? Its own repository, but it has got what? Its own local cache dependencies cache, which is specific to each Gradle project, which is specific to each Gradle project, right, guys? Which is specific to what, guys? Each Gradle project. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Super, guys. Tell me. Local file acting as repository. This is the Gradle build, guys. It can collect the jar files from files acting as a local repository. Come on. Files acting as flat file as a repository. Okay, it can collect from Gradle cache. Okay, by using network, it can go to what? Maven repositories, IVA repositories, other third-party repositories are not there. Okay, the jars that are collected from local flat file repository, Maven repository, IVA repository, Google repository, X repository, Y repository, okay, will be saved in what? Gradle cache, also called dependencies cache. Come on. So second time same jar is required. Okay, third time same jar is required. It can be collected from where, guys? Gradle cache are not there. It can be collected from what? Gradle cache. Okay, let me give the order. No, here no order, boss. If you mention local repository, it will search in local repository. If you mention Maven Central as the repository name, it will search in this. But whatever copy it will get, it will keep in what? Gradle cache. But this Gradle cache is mission specific or project specific? This is project specific, right? Okay. Gradle build. Okay. This is my pros one. Pros hash one. Okay. Local file repository. Now, flat directories. Flat directories repository. Are you getting my point there, guys? Yeah. Gradle cache, also called as what? Dependency cache. What cache, guys? Gradle cache, also called as dependencies cache. Okay, these are available in the internet, guys. That's why network is involved or not there. Here, the artifact can be a jar file or project or what? Plugin. Yeah, tell me what is doing? Download artifacts either from using network from different repositories, right? Okay, and it can also get that. It can also can get the artifacts from what? Flat file directory. Whatever it is, it will store and it will access from local cache or not there. So when I say other repositories, the other repository possibilities are what, guys? Google repository. What is there? Google repository. Or tell me, Bintrace. What is there? Bintrace. JCenter repository. What repository? JCenter repositories. Repository. That's it. Okay. The jar file gathered from different repositories of different location will be kept in what? Gradle cache for reusability. That means when we run the Gradle build for next time, the jar files dependencies kept in Gradle cache will be what? Utilized. So here we don't have mission level local cache, but project level Gradle cache is there. Within the project only that is usable, not across the multiple projects. If you want to make such local cache, you try to take for local folder as what? Flat directory cache. That can be treated as a local cache, but it won't come automatically. You have to declare it. You are my folder. I'm treating you as a local cache. You have to declare it explicitly. Are you understanding my statement, guys? That's good. Great. Yeah. Tell me. IVA repositories, Maven repository, Android or Google repository, Flatfire repository, Pinterest JCenter repositories, right? Many options are there or not there? Yeah. Tell me how to specify that in build.gradle. Repositories enclosure. Each flower bracket open closing in DSL of Gradle is called enclosure. Remember that word. What is that? Enclosure. Okay. Repositories, IVA related URL. It's a quite lengthy, heavy syntax now, my dear. Starter form is there. Repositories, IVA, URL. You can mention IVA repo. Some shortcut also you can mention. No, you want more syntax. Okay, 1 minute here, either that or this. Yeah, in KTS model, little changes there in the syntax, don't worry. Yeah, for Maven repositories, Maven this lengthy one. Or you can write what? Short form. You can write what? Short form. Okay. Yeah, then we have some other options also. Check it out. The Maven local. This alias stands for the dependencies that are fetched from what? Central Maven to repository. Instead of Hangama like this, you can write Maven Central as a method call. It will try to collect from Maven Central or not there. How? Under repositories directly what? Maven Central. J Central. Under repository directly what? Alias name is shortcut name, guys. Your name is very lengthy name. In shortcut, they will call you as Chinna Munna Kanna or not there. Yes or no, na, guys? Say something, my dear. Come on. Fine. Virat Kohli is a big name, and everyone will call him as what? Chiku, Chiku, Piku, okay? Something is there or not there? Yes or no, na, guys? Okay. Yeah. Meven Central. What is next one? J Central. And what next one? Meven Local. What local, guys? Yeah, this alias stands for dependencies that are fetched from what? Local Maven repository. What is next one? Google. The alias stands for dependencies that are fetched from what? Android repository. What repository, guys? Repositories Maven Central. Repositories J Central. This is shortcut or not there, guys? Super, guys. As I introduced what is what. Today I'm trying to give little syntax are not there. Super, guys. Each flower bracket open closing. Each flower bracket open closing. In DSL of Gradle. DSL of Gradle is technically what, guys? Is technically called as what is there? Enclosure. Is technically called as enclosure. Everyone understanding my statement, guys, are not there? Yeah. Add flat directory repository to our what? Build. To use flat directory repository, add the below code snippet to what, guys? Build.gradle file. Build.gradle flat directory is a library. If you want, you can mention the location also, boss. You mentioned library means what? In the project only lib folder is there. You want to take lib folder as what? Flat directory. Very simple, guys. If you want, you can mention complete location. No, you want to mention more than once? Library A, library B. You can mention complete location also, not a problem. Your flat directories of directory of computer where jar files are placed. While mentioning libraries, here we can use either relative path or what? Absolute path. That's up to you guys. What you want to use is what? Relative path or absolute path. If you mention like this, okay, I can say build.gradle and these folders both are there in the same project or not there. In fact, in same directories are not there, guys. Are you getting my point there, my dear? Okay, dependency scopes in Gradle. Here, dependencies means what, guys? Jar file. In Gradle, dependency scope is equal to dependencies configuration. Terminologies are different, guys. The meaning is what? Dependency scope. Or in Maven also we have a scope na compile, runtime, import, system, test. Remember all this thing? Yeah, same story here. Some scopes are there. Here also some scope is there. All right. In Gradle, dependency configuration is nothing but dependency scope. Yeah. If nothing is specified, what is the default, guys? Implementation. The implementation configuration should be considered as a default. We used to declare a dependency that we don't want to expose to our consumers compile time. Our consumers to compile time. When available, compile time, runtime, test compile time, test runtime. All the times is available. Leaks into consumers compile time. Leaks into means what, guys? Leaks into consumers compile time means what? When the product receiver, client organization try to compile on his own, at that time will they be leaked or not? No. Leaks into consumers runtime, definitely they are visible at what? Runtime. Included in artifact, in the project it is included or not, right? Yeah, definitely in dependency section that is visible, guys. Are you understanding my statement? What are the possibility, guys? Implementation, API, compile only, runtime only. These are related to development scopes, guys. For the jar that you want to use in development, project development and execution, we use these scopes. The jars that we want to use, like JUnit, Mockito, that you want to use in unit testing and what? Selenium testing or some other testing. So we use these scopes are not there. Related to unit testing environment. These are related to what, guys? Source code development and what? Execution. Source code development and execution. These are related to what? Source code development and what? Execution. Are you understanding my statement or not there, guys? Super. Dependencies scopes in what? Gradle. Dependencies scopes in what? Gradle. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay, but before that, before worried about this, let's see some practical of creating project, guys. Some practical of what? Creating project. But before creating project, okay, first let me complete these scopes, guys. All together we see in one project development. Okay, next one. Implementation, you got idea? API. We use API configuration to do declare dependency that are part of our API for a dependency that we explicitly wants to expose to consumers. For client people also we want to expose the jar file. Along with the release of the project also we want to expose the jar file. This is only standard configuration that exposes dependencies toward compilation of compliant type. Check it out. When available. In regular compilation visible, runtime visible, test compile time visible, test runtime visible. Leaks into consumers compile time. Yes. Leaks into what? Consumers runtime. Yes. Included in artifact. Yes. At project level, they are included or not, guys? Yes, they are included. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Okay, guys, 1 minute. I want to give more clarity on it. What do you mean by consumers compile time? ChatGPT. I want to give in Gradle dependencies scope. What is the meaning of leaking into what is there? Consumers scope. Consumers compile time. What is the meaning of consumers compile time? Leaking into consumer compile time, a dependency that library declares also being exposed to projects that use your library. In other words, your consumers will see and need the dependency on their compile. See, you are developing API. You are creating your API like JDBC API, Servlet API, right? Come on. They are not, this jar is not only used while compiling and executing your API code. If someone wants to use this API for their compile time also, it is useful. Someone created JDBC API. We are adding to jar file and we are using it. That means the jars that are there in JDBC API not only required while creating JDBC API, also required in our JDBC application that are developed using JDBC API are not there. So final conclusion is, if you are developing a library, whatever jars you are adding in the library preparation Gradle project, not only useful in the library execution, whoever wants to use that library, for them also they should be exposed. Think that you are not developing project. Think that you are developing one library. Come on, guys. library or API. Okay, not REST API, normal JDBC API, Servlet API, JND API. Some APIs are there, na classes that are there in what packages kind of thing, right? Ah, the jars that you are adding in the preparation of API not only useful to complete the library development, but also useful for the people who want to use your library. Are you getting my point there? Yeah. Array, wo JDBC 14.jar is a JDBC driver class, right? In the development of that jar file content, lot of other jar files also might be used or not. They might be added to the class path now, boss. Okay, these jar file not only required in this jar driver development, also required for the people who want to use this driver. That's the meaning of it. That's the meaning of this. Good question. Let me break down into Gradle repository scope. When you declare dependencies in Gradle, you decide how they are exposed into the depends on the project. That depends on your project. That depends on your project. Think like this. You depend on some library. Someone else dependent on you, right? Depending upon the scope, these internal libraries of yours may be visible to the consumer. Maybe or may not be visible to the consumer. That means the jar that you used in your project uh, will be useful in other project who is using your project. Are you getting my point there? The jar that you are using in your project will be exposed to what? Another project that is using your project, right, my dear? See, someone said some secret to me. I am, I'm making myself available for someone else. Okay, now it's up to me to take the decision whether I should keep the secret with me or I should expose the secret with them. Come on, come on. Still bulb not glow, na? Okay. X came to Y, said, okay, I'm going to Goa on this day. Don't tell to everyone. This Y gone to Z. Y gone to Z. Z is now, Y and Z are friends. So now Y has to take a decision. The secret he has got should be informed to Z or not. Yes or no? Na? Y also knows it. But about X, Z should know or not. That depends upon the scope. That depends upon whose scope? X scope. If X scope is implementation, Y uses it. But though Y is made dependent to Z, Z never knows about the X. If X scope is what? API. What scope, guys? If X scope is what? API. Are you getting my point there? Y uses the X, no doubt in that. When Y is being used by what? Z, and Z never be aware of what? X. Z never be aware of what? X. Bulb glow na, not glow na. Very simple, ra. While creating your Gradle project, you added some jars. Whether you want to see those jars up to this project, or if this project is used by another project, there also should be exposed or not. There also should be exposed or not. Implementation says, I am for this project, I will be available for this project. If this project becomes dependent to another project, I don't be available for them. No, APA says, only APA says, I'm available for your project and I'm also available for what? Other project where you are being dependent, where you have been added as what? Dependent. Interesting or not there? Okay. A dependency that your library declares also being exposed to the projects that use your library. That means your current project is one library. That library is used by other project. So the jar with what scope? Implementation scope. Visible to your project or your library, what you are preparing now. But if that project is used by other project, there it is not visible. API means what? Visible to your project and also visible to what? other project where this library or project is being used. Are you getting my point there, guys? Yeah. Here, what is there? Goa. Goa available for you compile and run, but does not lead to compile class path project that depends upon your library. That depends upon you are creating one library there. Goa is having implementation. Consumer don't see it. They don't need Goa to compile against your library unless they explicitly add it themselves. So they don't get automatically. Look at API. API is what? Common slagging. Common slang is available for your compile time and run. And it does leak into what? Compiler's class path. Any project that uses your library will also get what? Common slug on their class path, on their compile class path automatically. Okay, X scope is what? Implementation. Okay, which is a jar file. Added to Y project. Okay, in Y compile time runtime, X is anyhow visible. Now, Y is added as dependent to what? Z. Come on. Last time I am explaining. Okay. Now, X scope is what? Implementation. Z will not get the X. Z will get the X only when Z adds its ends again separate. You are getting my point there. No. X scope is what? API. What scope, guys? X scope is what? API. X is exposed to Y, compile time, runtime. And Y is also exposed to what? Z. And not only Y, Z is also exposed to what? Z compile time and runtime. Okay. Only API is having that one. So now let me give clarity. What is the meaning of what is the what is the meaning of leaking into consumers compile time? What is there? Leaking into consumers compile. What is the meaning of leaking into consumers compile time? Yes, guys. I think this gives a very better explanation or this one, guys. Yeah. First, first I will put this. I'm putting this, guys. I am putting this. This answer is kept. Next, I'm also trying to put. I'm also trying to put this example scenario now, my dear. That will give more satisfaction towards this. Summary is not required. Just a minute. Let me give the feeling. Oh, something is missed. Wait a minute. Yeah, MySQL driver related some comment I am missing here. Just a minute. Cut it. Okay. Skin resolution error. Fine. That's good. Fine. That's good, guys. Yeah. What is the first scope, guys? In Maven, we use scope tag. We use scope tag to specify the scope, right? In Gradle, what we are using, guys? Uh, Along with the syntax. Before the syntax, we write this. Okay, don't worry. API. You understood the API part? It is also visible all places, but visible at what? Consumers. Okay, it's visible at what? Consumer place. Compile time only. Compile time only. Okay. The compile allows us to declare dependency that should only be available at what? Compile time, but not are not needed at what time, guys? Runtime. See the best example. An example use case for this configuration is an annotation processor like what? Lambda, which modifies the bytecode at compile time. After compilation, it is not needed anymore. So the dependency is not available at what time? The dependency is not available at what time, guys? Yeah, this is my compile time. Leaks into consumer compile. That is what? No. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Super. Okay, that's good. Runtime only. What is there? Yeah, this is what? Runtime only. Arey, Lamba KPI is there, na? Yeah, once we get the boilerplate code, getter, setter, method, constructor, is there any required in that runtime, guys? So for that one, for Lamba KPI, jar, I can use what is there? Compile time. Compile only is enough now, my dear. Yeah, runtime only. Just think it is visible only in the execution of the project, not visible at compile time. You look at any JDBC driver software. Is it required in the execution time or compile time also? It is just required at runtime or is only compile time also required? Only runtime. Compile time not required because driver class loading also takes place at what time? Runtime. Driver class loading, everything happens at what time, guys? A runtime only. See, configuration allows to declare dependencies that are not needed at compile time but will be available at what? Runtime. Similar to Maven's runtime scope. An example is again SLF4J, where we include what? SL4J API to the implementation configuration and an implementation of that API like what? SL4J, log4j, logback classic to what? Runtime only configuration. What configuration? Runtime only configuration. Are you getting my point there or not there? Super runtime. No, yes, yes. Even JDBC driver software also required at runtime only, na, my dear. Okay, next one. Test implementation. Hey, what's happening, guys? Okay. Test implementation, guys. Similar to implementation, but dependents are declared with the test implementation are only available during what? Compilation and runtime of test. Mostly in JUnit environment, mostly in JUnit and what? Mockito environment. JUnit and Mockito environment. We can use it for declaring dependency to testing the frameworks like what? JUnit Mockito that we only need in test that should not be visible in what? Production code. Okay. What where when available? Test compile, test runtime. Leaks into consumers compile time? No. Only implementation leaks to this project dependent project, right? But this test implementation not visible. Leaks into consumers runtime? No. Included in project artifact? No. Because in production it will not be there because this is only for testing purpose, right? Here what? Artifact means what? Project. Here project means what? Production environment. In production environment, what is need of test code, guys? Not required or not? Yeah, test compile only. Test compile. Similar to compile only, but dependents declare test compile only available during compilation of test, not at what? Runtime. I can I cannot think about specific example, but there may be some annotation process similar to what? Lambda that are only relevant for what? Test. They are not required outside this. Test compile time. Leaks into consumers compile time? No. Runtime? No. Include in artifact? No. Test runtime only. What is there? Similar to runtime only, but dependents that are declared with the test runtime only are only available during runtime of test, not at what? Compile time. Not at what? Compile time. Are you getting my point there? An example would be declaring a dependency to what? JUnit Jupyter engine. Are only when you go for test suite. That only we have configured Jupyter engine, na, my dear. It is not required for compilation. It is required only in test code execution. That too, when you bring suite class into picture. Anyone remember test suite? Test suite. Anyone remembered? What I said, when you want to execute multiple test cases class together, it's better to link them to test suite class or not there. Remember that or not there? Okay, that's good. JUnit Jupyter engine, which runs our JUnit test, but which we don't compile against, which we don't compile against. Super. Test runtime, leaks into consumer compile time, runtime, artifact, included in artifact, no. Yeah, this is what? Example. What is there? Example. Compile only. This is what? Group ID. This is artifact ID. This is version. Array, this is the short. We can you get this information from what? mvnrepository.com. What.com? Already yesterday I have opened and shown na boss. Test compile only for ROD Lambda API. Okay. In build.gradle, this is a lengthy version, guys. Scope, group name, version. This is the long syntax. Long syntax. Lengthy version, groovy based DSL, right? This is the short syntax. Implementation, just group colon, jar file name colon version. This is short version. This is groovy based DSL or not there. Super. In build.gradle.kts, what is there? Kotlin based DSL. What is there? Kotlin based DSL. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Compile only. org.project.lambak.version. This is my group ID or not there, guys? This is my artifact ID, nothing but jar file name. This is version. This is Kotlin based, guys. Same thing, small difference is there in the syntax. Here parentheses are open, closing is there. Here not there. Small difference is there. Are you getting my point? Yeah, once again, I'll show how to gather them. Everything we have a tabs, boss. Here is what? Group ID. That means company name. Next, jar file name, jar file name, also called as what? Artifact ID. What ID, guys? Artifact ID. artifact ID. This is my what, guys? Version. This is my version. That's good. No archetype. Okay, now let's. Are in even we have archetype to create a projects now, boss? No archetype in Gradle to create different types of projects. Rather, we use a different plugins to create what? Different types of projects. Plugin where gives every facility that is required for web application. Plugin application gives everything that is required for what? Creating standalone application. Plugin Eclipse makes our Gradle project compatible to open in what? Eclipse environment. So we have a lot of plugins. Gradle is full of plugins. Gradle is what? Full of plugin. Plugins will have a tasks and to we define functionality for the tasks through what? Build.gradle or build.gradle.kts. Okay, now let's have a look. mvnrepository.com here. mvnrepository.com here. Spring context support, guys. By seeing the website name, everyone will be cheated. It is only for Maven. No, it is for all Gradle also. Select the jar, select the version, select the version. Tell me here. Gradle, Gradle. Tell me scope. What scope you want? It's giving it's a recommended scope, guys. Okay, which format you want? Gradle long format. Sorry, Groovy long. Groovy short format. Earlier they used to give separate tabs, guys, but now it's more dynamic, right? Okay, Kotlin. We don't have short long for that, only one syntax. Okay, here we can decide the scope now, boss. Test implementation, provided, compile only, compile, implementation. Okay, I don't know. It is not so matching, boss. Not so matching. Okay, runtime only. Compile time means implementation is coming. So that you can change. According to the requirement, you can change. That's up to you, right? Yes, guys. Hmm. Okay. So we got the idea about the jar files, my dear. Okay. Now we are going to talk about what? Plugin. Plugins and dependency knowledge is there. We can start building the projects in Gradle, boss. It's not like that we cannot build the project. We can happily start what? Building the projects in Gradle. No second thought in that. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. Got the clarity or not there, boss? Yes. Plugin is nothing but set of useful tasks such as compilation task, setting domain object, setting up source file, etc. Okay, are handled by plugins. Applying a plugin to project mean that it allows the plugin to extend the project capabilities. You already know what is plugin. Plugin is a patch software that can extend the functionalities of existing software. Come on. Normal TV, if you attach Fire Stick, it becomes smart TV. Come on. Eclipse, no GUI builder. When you install GUI builder, you can design GUI form through drag and drop. Remembered, boss? Okay, same thing. Basic Gradle project. You want the standalone application capabilities, one plugin application, web application capabilities, one more plugin, what, where you want C++ language capabilities because Gradle is not for Java. Gradle is for everyone, right? You want to get those facilities that are related to C++. You want to get those facilities that are related to Java. You want to get those facilities that are related to what C Sharp project. So you have a plugins for everything, boss. Category wise plugins are given. I'm going to show those plugins, guys. Yes, boss. By adding plugins to Gradle project, Gradle project. we define the purpose of the project. What is there, guys? We define the purpose of the project. We define purpose of the project, and we also get when we also get various tasks, to complete that the plugin offers. What is there? Various tasks to complete that the plugin offers. The plugins can do things such as extend the basic Gradle model. Example, add new DSL elements can be configured. Configure project according to conversion. Add a new task, configurable, sensible default. Application, standalone application defaults will come. Where web application defaults will come. C++, application development defaults will come. C sharp application development defaults will come. Come on, guys. Apply specific configuration. Add organizational repositories or enforce what standard. Different plugins of different categories. The code that we write in build.gradle is called Groovy based DSL. The code what we write in what? Build.gradle.kts is called what? Kotlin based DSL. What based DSL, guys? Kotlin based DSL. JVM languages and what? Frameworks. Different plugins of different categories. Yeah. JVM languages and what? Framework. Java. Provide support for building any type of Java project. It is there to create any kind of Java library. Provide support for building Java library. Like we JDBC API, Servlet API, our own API can create. Printing API or some other API, boss, some useful APIs. It is for developing projects so end user can use it. This is to develop what? Library so that other projects can use it. Right, my dear? What's the difference between library and what? Project. Okay. I'm not wasting my energy nowadays. Okay. Tell me. What is the short difference? I don't want elaborated. Short difference between what is there? Library. Library means base for other project development. Project means that end user can operate. Okay. Java library and Java project. Java library and Java project. Java library, collection of reusable code, classes, methods, utility APIs packaged in jar or module that can be used inside the project but does not run on its own. Can we see JDBC API running on its own? JDBC API used in JDBC projects. We run JDBC projects. Can we see Servlet API running on its own? Servlet API is used in the development of